And we are back, and we get to see that handsome new camera that Ryan's using. It seems to have solved his problems. It's funny when you mentioned that your previous session with your other group had your camera was acting up on you. Unfortunately, that confirmed what the StreamYard tech people had sent me, is that they felt it was definitely your camera was the problem. And it was probably and it's unfortunate. It sucks because but I'll be honest with you, your new camera looks better. So I like it because I also like because you get to use the bigger monitor too.
Yeah,
most expensive D&D game ever.
Yeah,
upgrading every piece of technology in succession is
just for D&D. Yeah, it's just frustrating when it's a relatively new computer and I bought it.
Yeah, that's super frustrating.
It's just that's where I was getting so upset about it. But I appreciate
that part. Yeah, well, it helps me kind of I had. Oh, okay. So this is going to make you feel so much better. So I had another player in my Sunday morning game having a similar issue, except his was far easier to fix. Although it was funny, it took him 2 weeks to figure it out. There's this physical button alongside his camera that allows a shutter to open and close. He didn't realize the last time he closed the laptop that it closed the shutter by mistake.
I've done that.
So he's
one of these
2 weeks. Yep,
one of these.
One of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one of those, but it's on the side of my computer, which is odd. And I just discovered that
Professor Jalbatross just disappeared. There he is.
I'm back. Sorry, I don't know what that was.
That was Kurt shuttering his laptop, which turned yours off. I don't know, very strange. But yeah, it was funny because we're all laughing about it. My Sunday morning table has now officially switched to the AP system for their combat system. We did a pretend dry run through using it with their characters because one of the players had the day off, and we're like, hey, let's do something fun and just do a quick combat encounter so you guys can get a feel for what it's like. And there are a couple advantages to 2024 rules with the 4 AP system, but I don't think it breaks it too much. I think you guys have kind of exposed, or at least recently kind of seen that happen, so I'm not too worried about it. But well, hey, we're back. Sorry. Happy Tours Day. I've lost track of the days. I don't know if anybody else has lost track of the days. Back-to-back holiday weeks in the middle of the week just feels so weird.
We were supposed to be off winter break, but we're going to get an extra day, at least maybe 2.
Yeah, from the snow. Yeah.
Lucky you.
I'm excited. I'll be working from home this time. Yeah. Well, so I was supposed to go back into work, and I'm like, if the kids are out, I'm just going to stay here with them.
Might as well. Yeah.
We'll go sledding. There's a place down here called Suicide Hill. I may or may not have almost broken my back there a couple of years ago.
I just love the fact that Kurt was like, we're going to go sledding. We're going to head out there and just go do some sledding.
For sure. That's what you do, man. Look, you take the fastest, ricketiest piece of plastic you can find. You go to the highest hill with the steepest slope and all the crap in the way, right? Because you got to dodge something. And then you just go. And I live about not even a half mile maybe from a big, huge golf course in a park called Hills and Dales. So all the best snow hills are right there. And
what's the population of your state? Like 18 people, 20 people?
Hey, now, come on. Ohio is the 8th largest state in the U.S.
Yeah, Ohio's got a lot of people.
It does not feel like it, but it is. I had to look it up. That's the only reason I know it, right? It does not feel like it.
11.69 people in Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's close to 12. Close to 12 people.
Yeah.
Illinois got 12. Illinois got 12.6, so we just got you beat.
Yeah. But you think about the metropolitan areas though, like you've got mostly Chicago that makes up the bulk of Illinois, right?
8 million people are.
Yeah.
Ohio's is all spread out because you've got the Toledo area, right, like south of Detroit, basically. South Michigan, if you want to call that Toledo, right? Then you've got Cleveland, Columbus, and then the Cincinnati and Dayton metro areas, which are pretty big. And you get like Youngstown, that's like right close to Pennsylvania, but it's not nearly as populated right there. But yeah,
The city of LA is 4 million people, but LA County, which most people identify as the city of LA, is 16 million people.
Yeah.
And that's all within like a 100 square mile area for the most part.
Yeah, that's wild.
The human density of that region is, and then the state of California, we're roughly we vacillate between 40 and 43 million people a year, kind of depending on the decade cycle that we're in.
Yeah.
So sometimes it drops as people move away and they become miserable and they come back.
Hey, I stayed
Every
in Seoul
single one.
I stayed in Seoul for a little while, and it was 22 million people. Yeah, in the Seoul metro area is 22 million people. I lived there for like 16 months.
Well, what was so funny is I had a friend move back to Southern California, and he looked at me and goes, Jason, were you aware that there's these big angry clouds in like 12 other states that try to kill you like 100 times a year? I'm like, yeah, those are called tornadoes.
Yeah.
Those aren't like earthquakes where they just don't happen for 100 years and then one happens. Tornadoes happen every year.
Bill Paxton made a movie about it, right?
So true. So true. So I think we left on a bit of a cliffhanger, right? All of you were in the process. Well, were you all together working on the stone? Is that where we last left off?
Yeah, I think we were all together.
So. Yeah. I know Professor Jabatros was doing an early morning workout, doing his lifts and his front lifts, rear lifts, and working on his abs.
Hollow bones.
Does Professor Albatross get any like plus points for like doing like a morning workout?
Nah, he's already ripped, so he's just he's doing it for
he's doing it for
the sake of all the D&D hot people that are walking by or flying by.
Yeah, this is just making
honestly good for you, Professor.
So, where we last left off, the team take possession of the skiff, the shard, and the body. The skiff is now sequestered over at the Airy Spire, so they now have a means of transportation. But they had to get rather clever to get both the Star Shard and the body back to the Prancing Centaur. Once they did this, however, they contacted Fabian. Fabian took over from that point, and also offering up the reward to the people for recovering, to everybody for recovering Prancella. And the team kind of spent the day thinking a little bit more about the fact that maybe these larvae, while are dangerous, are not directly connected to what might be going on down there. The near spread of this creature when the body erupted from what was put inside. The team learned a couple things. One, the shard needs to be focused on a little bit more to learn what more they can about it, what its connection might be. And while the portal is a currently inactive portal, there's no means of telling when the portal was last opened. So the team have begun to believe that maybe somebody coming through the portal recently had inadvertently brought these infestations in with them. And because there was a remnant of a Star Shard in the area, they kind of feasted off that, used the locals nearby to convince other skiffs, others that came into the area, and then using the broomstone engines of the skiffs to propagate and fully kind of like expand in the stargazer's nesting area. But in hopes of maybe figuring out more about the fragment of the star, as well as who may have actually recently used the Planeo Gate, the team have kind of gotten together, combined their efforts in hopes of trying to understand and learn more about this strange device or strange remnant. It's the following morning since the return. All of you have gathered in the common area, which is usually the second floor for your team within the Prancing Centaur, near where the veranda is. Somebody's casting Identify, correct? So this time Karina's casting Identify again. And was anyone else doing anything? I thought somebody else was doing something as well.
I had done Divine Sense. Oh,
That's
sorry.
right.
Yeah, I think I just did a straight Arcana check on it.
Yep.
And Forn was doing some nature check on it and discovered that it was hollow.
Yep.
Yes, that's right.
Can we open it like a piñata and see what horrible things are inside?
I can
We
shoot
know that's what you want to do, Karina.
Who said shooting? I like that idea.
Guys, this is kind of weird, but I think this rock is conscious.
Is or was?
Well, I'm sort of sensing a celestial consciousness in the stone, or maybe the stone is the consciousness.
Huh.
Just kind of getting a vibe.
Can you talk to it?
I'll lean down and place my ear on the stone and just kind of pat it and be like, "Hello, stone. What's your name?"
Give me a persuasion check as you do.
All right.
Ooh.
Wait, it can be persuaded.
I don't know if he's messing with us or not.
It'd be like that one kept trying to identify me, and I just wanted to talk.
Well, I'm gonna use my my channel divinity feature to turn that into a 10. So I've got a
This
is how you 17.
secretly get the players to use up their abilities before the ambush.
all right, we'll call that a 17.
17. There's a very subtle heartbeat. You hear like a
Hello, stone. Is there someone in there?
no physical response, just your ear kind of just picking up that very subtle but it's very like an elongated heartbeat, like somebody's would be in like a deep kind of ritualistic sleep.
I think the stone's sleeping, you guys. I can hear a heartbeat.
Can I scream to that side? Wake up!
Well, I think you're ritually casting Identify, right? Because that takes up to 10 minutes, right?
That's true. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So we're getting to you because I can't believe you're doing it again, even after what happened last time. So I love that. So
I don't.
Can I, just, well, I'm debating casting Cure Wounds on it at all, if that wakes it up a little bit, if it's been damaged.
What's the?
I don't
Can we
know.
decide if it's friend or foe before?
Yeah,
we do this?
I was thinking about it. I don't know if it's worth it. It's just something I was thinking about, though.
Maybe we'll have a cool star friend.
That would be ideal.
That would be ideal.
I mean, I have potentially not terribly wise idea, but I would need all of you to get, let's say, 30 feet away.
Oh, you got to think we try to make everybody run away again? Is that what we're going to do now?
Well, it is celestial as far as we can tell, and I'm sorry that so many of you are Fae. I can't target just that. I don't. It's not within my powers. I don't think, unfortunately. But I mean, if you're just getting about, say, 10 paces.
We could back out to the balcony and see what happens.
keep in mind, Karina's concentrate. So if she moves, she'll
We should
lose.
probably wait.
Yeah, she'll lose the ritual. Yeah.
All
Just
right.
saying, she'll lose. I mean, you could have her back out now, but she'll just lose the ritual cast.
Yeah, can we just wait like 5 minutes and then I'm out of here?
Look, I have this. I've got this interesting talent where I can see through the eyes of a willing creature, like a beast. It maybe that would work. I could try it, but I certainly am more than willing to let you finish casting your identifier first.
Actually, if somebody wants to interrupt me, that's probably for the best.
Look, if this thing is a creature, and what they're trying to do is, what if what you're seeing is like a defense mechanism? It doesn't know what it's doing. It's just that's how it tries to keep itself safe. It keeps things away like that.
Maybe. I mean, if I do end up talking with a creepy person again, is there any question you guys want me to ask it?
Feels to me like maybe just break the connection right away.
Okay, I like where your head's at.
Yeah, it's not like you felt you had the ability to talk to the person. It was almost like you were experiencing what the person was experiencing within the vision. The person was basically in the midst of something that maybe a fragment of a memory, a fragment of a notion that might be related to the identification of this star. Sometimes things that aren't inherently magical that reveal themselves kind of reveal themselves in different ways. And you get the feeling that maybe this fragment was revealing what was happening during its destruction or during its existence, possibly.
Now, look, we did talk when Fabian was talking about this. He did say, "Well, hang on, let me rephrase. We're worried about these star grazers, that big centipede thing, and this certainly is not one of them. And I think that's a fair inference after we had Fabian in here, who seems to know a lot more about them star grazers than we do, as well as the professor. But they had different, what was that word he said? Gestational periods. So the eggs that we saw, that we thought were also star grazers, didn't look anything like this. The star grazer itself didn't look anything like this. The cocoon that the girl was in didn't look anything like this. I don't think this is a star grazer at all. But the vision you talked about, you saw that green weird fella, but he had a star grazer on the back of his head, right? So just taking a name at face value, right? What if we're looking at the last remnants of whatever that stargazer colony, what have you, destroyed, and this is something from that planet, and this is all that's left?
It's entirely possible. I mean, I think the only real impression I got from the vision is that it was like Invasion of the Body Snatchers situation, a reference that makes total sense in Fantasyland.
I think I read that book one time.
By Professor Elminster, I believe was his name.
And I also did not love the fact that it seems to interact with me, although maybe I was seeing somebody else's memories. We'll see. As always, if I turn into a zombie, don't kill me. I'd rather we all went down together. Okay, well...
I can always turn you undead if you want.
Oh, okay, well that's kind of fun.
It's that moment the identify spell kicks in. You watch as Karina kind of goes into that transcendental state of both being aware but connected to the spell's effect as the shard is being identified. This time, Karina, knowing what you know, you push a little bit deeper into the sensation of the spell's effect. You are staring out amongst a crowd of Githyanki, since that was what the person was identified to you as. And this crowd of Githyanki are having a ceremony in front of a large temple. The temple is a very angelic creature on top of it, made of like a white and black obsidian stone, almost as if the statue is half black, half white, like a yin-yang kind of look to it. The Githyanki maybe number in the hundreds, and they're around the base. You can see the Githyanki that you remember seeing before standing atop the temple as if servicing the ceremony, holding an object and a weapon, and seeming to speak, but the words are mute. The words are drowned out by this very subtle heartbeat in the back of your mind, this subtle, very thrumming of a elongated heartbeat. You then watch as a group of Githyanki carrying what looks to be the star shard that you're currently interacting with into the base of the temple. And as they carry it into the base of the temple, you watch as the temple is shut. And as the Githyanki begin to disperse, you watch as a series of portal gateways open up in your vision. And stepping through these portals are humanoid figures with those parasitic creatures on the back of their head. And then you find yourself floating out of the vision and back in the room with everybody else.
Can I do a quick Arcana check?
What are you focusing on?
The temple and the ritual.
What are you hoping Arcana would tell you?
What kind
Was
of
it a
ritual?
magical event or?
Yeah, what entity is this kind of angelic being and this monument is like made for?
Okay. Give me an Arcana check on that one.
8.
Not a lot of it familiar to you. The angelic nature of it screams of an angel. The fact that Githyanki were worshiping it was a little weird. Other than that, you're not entirely sure what it meant and what it was being used for.
And since I heard just a little bit of the heartbeat, can I try and communicate with whatever entity I might have felt in that moment?
Ooh, how would you do that? Do you have message?
I do have message.
You feel like as everyone else is watching you and you begin to invoke the message spell, you feel it connect to something inside the stone.
Ugh.
Please name yourself and your objectives. We are friends.
The entire stone shudders briefly, just vibrate. And then
We have an earthquake?
And I'm sorry, what did it do?
It just vibrated.
Oh.
And then it went back to just being still.
Can I include... do I have charm? I have friends. Can I try to kind of infuse a little bit of friends in it to see if I can get it to maybe come out of its
with
shell a
that,
little
yeah,
bit?
with that same kind of connection, you kind of embolden the friend spell alongside of your message spell. You're trying to convince it. Give me a persuasion check, if you would, please. I'll give you advantage because you're using the friend spell.
Oh, thank God for the advantage. Wow, I'm rolling really bad today. The higher one was 12, and I have a +7 for that.
Yeah. Once again, the stone shudders. It vibrates as if responding, but not audibly. It just shudders and goes still again.
Well, tell everyone what I saw. Does that feel familiar to anybody?
Anybody is free to make a history or religion check based on what Karina had discovered.
I'll do a history check. Give me a
Nat
second.
20 on religion checks. Let's
Oh.
I'm not going to bother because I have a +1 to both, so it wouldn't really get me anywhere.
I got a 5 on a history check, so nothing to
I got a 15 religion, but air trade is obviously better.
watch out, Bev.
18 for history.
It sounds a lot like a religious ceremony, that they were enshrining something in the temple, that they were clearly paying homage to it, and it felt as if it was important to whatever culture that Githyanki represented. So for you, Karina and Melody, it just felt like a typical kind of religious ceremony, and they were interring somebody or something. Eritrea, the description of the duality angel is what interests you from your studies at the Sarenrae Temple. It's kind of known through religious lore that any celestial angel that represents a dark and light representation could be linked to something called the Heart Star. The lore around the Heart Star is the belief it's the birth of the first angel. And that its enshrinement in that temple tells you that those Githyanki believe that they are either in possession of information or there's a ceremonial lore that connects them to the idea of the Heart Star. Whether it's interpreted at the same level of religion that Sarenrae teaches its followers, it sounds a little too good to be true. This would be one of the most rare occurrences of proof of the fact that you're in possession of what could be either a fragment of the Heart Star or possibly the Heart Star itself.
Now, the Heart Star, when you say it's the birth of the first angel, the Heart Star gave birth to the first angel, or this was used
Religious
for the
myth.
birth?
Yeah, religious mythos and religious truth are always a fine line that everybody walks. It's believed that the first angel was born of something. One of those myths is that the Heart Star is the power that the first angel used and would eventually leave behind after creating the celestial plane. Some people consider the birth of the celestial plane as the birth of the first angels. So it could be a representation of a fragment of the celestial plane, which could bolster two opportunities here. If you ever get a chance to utilize the planar shift spell or effect, you would now have a lightning rod that could potentially connect to the celestial plane and therefore travel there. The other possibility is that this is a fragment of star from the celestial plane that somehow ended up on a Githyanki asteroid or world somewhere. They took it as a religious sign, and they've been using it as a kind of an apostle of power or a religious statement of power. Githyanki are very kind of clandestine in their tribal existence, and they're very much rooted in the astral sea and the lore and understanding of the astral sea. Maybe this is what they considered their power. That this is what gave their particular culture of where they were their power. And you're free to share as much of that
Yes.
as you want through your interpretation.
Yeah, I share all of that. I'm clearly visibly like struck and a little shaken by the possibility that we are in possession of something like this. And I tell them this is potentially something very powerful that we may need to protect and keep hidden. We shouldn't be walking around with this willy-nilly. Someone or many people may be looking for something like this.
So you're saying we need a better base?
Yeah, that would be a start.
Well, all right. I don't have any money yet.
Where I come from, we call that flat broke. So, you know.
We're still paying
not
off
broke.
this shack.
Not broke, but you know, well, the shack's paying off itself right now. It looks pretty good. At this point, looks like we might just have to touch up a little bit at the end of it. I'm all right with that.
What's your passive insight, Eritrea?
It is 16.
This could be also connected to the first of Azamar.
It's funny, someone in our group just texted me that.
Who's the culprit? I wonder. Did she have long blonde hair and sit in the other room?
Well,
that's what I was.
I figure if that was the case.
I was literally looking at that text when you asked me, "What's your passive insight?" It was like,
I don't know why she doesn't just like mute it and then yell it out the door. You know,
Yeah. I can totally see Alexa turning her head with the mute button on. You idiot! It's the first Azamar, you dumb!
it's the fucking first Azamar. Oh, like just before you even say it, you just hear, oh.
Well, I like to use passive insight, passive perception, and passive investigation when a series of successful rolls kind of trigger something. So with your recent activity and then all this information, your passive insight is just high enough to pick up on that possible connection. Well, you don't know where the details and where all the minutia may figure or factor in. Your experience in the chapel or the temple park, and your particular background as it relates to Sarenrae, even though you don't have the whole plethora of your memory of your journey yet, they feel connected. You're just not sure how yet.
I convey this to the group. This could be the first of the fallen, which I've felt some sort of connection to recently when I've gone to the temple. And I've had some interesting visions around it. I don't know if I can't quite say how it's exactly connected, but this could be a very powerful device we're in possession of.
I'm gonna go into one of my trances and message. I'm gonna send a message to one of my trinkets, and I'll send you. I'll PM you the person I'm messaging and the message. But you guys will just see my eyes go white for a second.
Nothing creepy about that.
So is this stone
you
like
haven't seen before?
Trejo? Is this stone like your great grandfather, basically?
In simplified terms, yes. In a way.
So for no suspicious reason, but like, what would one be able to do with the power of this stone?
The very fact Korea starts off her question that way is super sus.
Karina says it more normally.
15 minutes ago in game time, Karina wanted us to chuck this thing in the trash.
Well, it's proved to be less creepy than I previously thought. and more potentially beneficial. So what are the potential benefits?
I don't know exactly, but it could potentially connect us to different celestial planes. I don't believe I have the ability or the power quite yet to do so. It also just purely it holds a lot of weight, you know, and it's in its importance that many people may desire it, and it has that kind of power just because it is, as you saw in your vision, it is revered by certain peoples, and there are people that may want it. So it could be a bargaining chip or a curse.
I do like bargaining chips.
Yes, I figured you would, miss.
What? So, Treya, what do you want to do with it? It seems like it's kind of special. Should we hide it, or would it be safe in Saraday's temple, or?
I would rather speak to what's her name?
The elephant?
Yes, that's what I was looking up her name.
The elephant. I'd rather
Um,
speak to the elephant in the room.
Do we trust the elephant not to betray us? And
I don't quite know yet. That's I wouldn't give away too much, but I would like to maybe see if she has any more information on it, if she knows where it's potentially supposed to be and who may find importance in it.
You said that you felt this, like, Azamar's presence in the past. Where did you feel it?
At
Or when did
the
you feel it?
Dawn Father Temple, there was a statue of the First Fallen covered up.
By the way, the Wild Mother priest you're thinking of is Kaleem Hoofstep.
Yes.
Well, maybe I might propose something. Airtrail, you and whoever wants to go with you, go to the Dawn Father, or excuse me, that elephant friend of yours. The others can come with me. We'll go to the Starlight Lounge. I have a contact coming to meet us.
what contact?
You'll see when we get there.
Why? For what purpose? Are we getting drinks?
I don't. Sure. Yeah, we can have a drink. I like drinks.
Are you gonna betray us? Because it seems like you're gonna
I
betray
just don't
us.
trust the contact. No. I don't trust the contact, and I don't want to risk it. But I do think if Melody came with me, that would be a good sign.
There isn't going to be fighting, right? Because I really like that bar.
We wouldn't be fighting in the bar.
Uh,
If there's fighting, I'm sure it would happen someplace other than the bar. Let me phrase it that way. How about that?
It's going to happen eventually somewhere.
Look, I just really don't trust the guy, and I don't want to bring him here, and I don't want to necessarily put it out to all of you all that I don't trust him, because that might hurt your feelings, because I really just don't trust him. But and I'm a trusting guy. We know this, right? I mean,
Well, I would kind of like to stay here with the shard a little bit longer, just because I don't want to leave it alone, and I want to try and look in the map and see if I can find a place for us to hide some of our increasingly powerful valuables.
Oh,
do you have any uncompromised contacts?
Maybe I do, but I won't tell you because we're
No,
being
I
mysterious.
I assume that everybody.
And they'll be
is compromised. I assume everybody is. You know what?
Not so
Perhaps
fun
that-
when it's done to you, is it?
Perhaps that dragon person might be of some assistance. They seem awfully nice and want to do good things around here.
Maybe. I'm gonna see if any of my old contacts outside of Jrusar have any space that would be unassuming, that we might be able to keep some things, or at least have some kind of, not to say secret bunker, but I think we need a secret bunker, because this is getting...
There's there's some magic that I've seen. I guess it's similar to that painting that works like it's like a room inside of a wall, and it's basically a portal to another dimension. But when you go inside, it's like a whole building, a whole place. If we could acquire something like that and install it in our residence, we could kind of kill two birds with one shot, right?
Honestly, that sounds like a great idea.
Mr. Jelly
Let's
Cross
start
just
on
looks
that.
really uncomfortable right there.
I didn't say you had to go through it.
Before we break into different parties, Mr. Jolly just wants to try a thing. Like, it's not something I necessarily need to announce, but I want to use see invisibility, just because that lets me see into the ethereal plane, and I want to see if the stone has any presence there. Like, maybe if it's more developed there.
Say that again?
I wanted to use see invisibility, just because it lets me see creatures in the ethereal plane, and I was curious if maybe the stone is more developed or more visible there.
Ooh, that's very insightful. While the others are discussing what they're about to go do, you just kind of quickly invoke it.
Mm-hmm.
As you invoke see into the ethereal plane, the veil of the material plane just kind of shreds around you, and you're now looking into the ethereal plane, which is this unending kind of starscape of silver and gold and black, like vacuous emptiness. And at your feet is the stone, is the star shard. However, as you look down at the star shard, you can see inside of it. There's a grapefruit-sized stone inside of it that appears to be pulsing at a slow heartbeat's pace. The stone has a kind of green, red, and blue kind of effervescence. It's almost as if you're able to see through the shroud that protects it from material eyes, but it's not quite what you were expecting, a stone within a stone. You get the feeling that it's not that it's necessarily a hollow rock that it's in. It's the material around it is very thin and kind of hollow as well, like porous material. And then the stone itself is visible, and you can see it every like 5 minutes during the duration of your ability to see in the ethereal plane. Sorry, every 5 seconds, a very elongated heartbeat. And then 5 seconds later, a slow, and then the spell kind of finishes, and you're kind of standing there looking at it while the others are discussing their plans.
I'm just gonna kind of... I don't know if this necessarily helps us, but the shard down there, it's layered somehow. I just peeked at it in the ethereal plane, and it's almost like... Do you have the concept of a Matryoshka doll here? It's like multiple layers within itself. I think what we're seeing is actually a form of defense. It's not actually showing what the actual creature is.
So it's like an onion.
Yes. Fair enough.
I know some people that are like onions.
I'm more like a parfait.
You got to peel back all them layers till you get to the real one inside, you know?
Oh, you mean like a parfait?
If the true form is smaller and more compact, do you guys think we could just kind of remove it from this thing and carry it with us?
It's definitely a lot. Excuse me. It's definitely alive. I can see a pulsing heartbeat, and I don't know if it's fully possible. I am, an archaeologist. I could try to use some of my tools to strip the outer layer, but I don't work with living things. I don't
So
know how
what
that
if-
works.
Let me put this out there. What if that outer layer is protecting the inside from being what's the word I'm looking for? Scribed, perhaps, or discovered. What if this rocky layer on the outside is what's keeping other people from being able to track this thing? If we pop it open and we crack it out, and whatever's inside, boom, something's going to come and chase us down.
I realize all of you, as far as I know, just kind of looks at Karina and kind of looks at Eretria's wings and is just like, are mammals, more or less, but it could also be an egg. That's kind of...
I know enough about eggs to know that you break them open too early and all you got's breakfast.
I like breakfast.
That's such a Karina response. That's a D6 right there.
Oh yeah.
Such a Karina response.
I mean, Professor just kind of like hets his rock hammer. It's just like, I'll try if you want me to, but I think it's probably more valuable to keep it intact.
Yes.
I don't want to hurt it if it's alive. I mean, there's got to be some reason it's encased in this stone, right? That's what we saw in the vision.
Maybe Professor Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like Professor Jalbatros might be one of the most qualified creatures in the multiverse to examine something like this. So maybe spending more time with it would allow the professor to figure out what is the safest course of action. I'm really just ultimately concerned about leaving it alone, because if somebody bad... Yeah.
We do have our robot friend.
I'm all right with you staying here with it. That's fine. You can stay and study it all you want to. But I've got a lunch date at noon at the Starlight Lounge, though. So if, again, Melody, if you would come along, I would appreciate it. I believe you might be able to communicate with this fella better than I can.
And Professor, I think you would be a great value heading to the temple with me, unless you want to stay and study this further, because you always seem to ask the right questions.
I was going to see if Bourne wanted like some burly backup, but otherwise I was going to be like, yeah, I'll go with the kids.
That's totally understandable. I have my connections at the temple. I can
No, young man. No, I was planning on accompanying you, assuming that's okay with you.
Yes,
Certainly.
I'm just gonna spend extra time hiding this thing, and then I'll just do some errands real quick.
Don't you have... How do you talk to your friends around here, your people you know? Perhaps I thought you had an easier way to get around, since weren't you calling your parents for money like a week ago?
To be honest, that's kind of what I'm getting back onto. Usually we communicate through birds, but they haven't answered me, so I'm a little concerned. I'm gonna go check again if they've tried to reach out to me. If not, I might need to take a quick sabbatical and figure out what's going on with them.
Right. Sorry to be so flippant about your family. Now I kind of feel bad.
Good. But yeah, I think that seems like an okay course of action for everyone, and I'll spend extra time to make sure it's hidden. Hopefully you're right about this crying thing.
It's just my worry. I mean, look, if people knew what that thing was, or could sense where it was, or could sense those things, I figured they would have got it a long time ago. It wouldn't be just now being discovered. We got real lucky to find it, and the only reason we found it is because it was covered by the other eggs in the water.
Can I do a quick detect magic to make sure that we're not being scryed on?
Yeah. You could, detect magic. is a little bit more limiting with scry.
Oh.
Usually, see invisibility is the better option for seeing a scry.
But
Uh,
Mr. Jelbatross did do that, so I assume he didn't see anything, right?
No, he didn't notice anything when he did it. Yeah.
okay, so long as it doesn't seem like we're being scried on, I'm gonna hide it in Eritrea's room. Eritreo, this is your problem.
No, Melody. Melody's room is at the back of the wall. Look, I mean, my point is we want to put it in the furthest away, right? So if you're going to come in and get it, they got to go to the farthest place. And Melody's room is the one at the very back of the way there.
I mean,
Just for clarity, I did not scry on this. Like, I have see invisibility, which lets me see invisible things and into the ethereal plane. Like, I did not do that. So
That's true. He did.
Yeah.
He did look into the ethereal plane, is what he did.
yeah.
Okay,
But even if
well,
he saw anything, he'd probably just lie to you, anyways.
it's true. I can't trust any of those people.
Damn
These
academia.
birds.
Nah, it's more about academia.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. Oh, hey, is that my
I think
computer?
if we hide it under Eritreo's like floorboards or something, maybe it'll try and communicate with him like at some point. So
I have no
I'm just
problem
gonna-
keeping it in my room. I'm very comfortable.
Okay,
If
I
that
won't
makes
tell you
you
where
more
it is, so
comfortable.
it'll be
It'll be a surprise.
yeah.
I'll take out my knife and on the wall he writes "It's in here" on Thorn's room,
Oh, nice.
on my room door.
Nice fake out.
Like I just write "It's in here" on the outside of the door.
imagine bad guys walking and being like, "Ah, so convenient."
I mean, we would if
This
it
is-
happened to us.
So much easier.
This is
It really
such
just
fun.
says "It's." It doesn't say like what the thing is. It just says
Yeah.
"It's in here."
This,
Do you have
this
one
is
of
the
your
kind of trap
guns
we would
rigged
all
up
fall
in-
into, so I trust it.
So, Thorn, when you say that, do you have one of your guns rigged up in like an impossible Rube Goldberg trap? That's the it's.
No, I just didn't clean that blood and shit off the floor yet.
Ugh. You slept in there last night.
I woke up with the blood and shit in front of me.
Oh, fair.
Okay, well, I'll just go to Eritrea's room, try and remove the floorboards, put it beneath the floorboards, hope it looks kind of natural, and leave.
Is there space under there for it? It's a pretty big stone, right?
That was like, I mean, in my vision, it was such a breakthrough. So it's not.
Well,
That's
no,
the
the
inside
stone
part.
within the stone. So the star shard is
6
like
feet long.
6 feet long by 3 feet across. But the stone inside the star shard is about the size of a grapefruit.
What's the depth of or the height of the stone?
Maybe about 2 feet.
Okay, so
If it doesn't fit,
go ahead.
It could make a nice coffee table.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
oh,
put it
I was
around
gonna
over
draw a
it.
face on it, but that's probably better. Okay.
You could smack it with a bloody hand and then start talking to the imprint.
It sounds fun. Okay, so I'll try to use deception to however most naturally hide it there. And I'm rolling for deception,
Go
and
for it.
it's 20.
Ooh,
Okay.
Nice.
Ooh.
Pretty decent. I mean, first they'd have to gain access to the room. They would then have to actively look for something. So, the DC for anyone to find it is a 20 or higher at this point.
Hey.
It'll take some time for you to set up. It's still just now getting on to mid-morning. What would you guys like to do next?
I'm tagging along with Eritrea, so
Okay.
I think
and the
I've
two,
convinced
and
Melody
the
to
two of
come
you
with
are
me.
looking for Hakeem Hoostep.
Yeah, looking back through my notes, it looks like she usually can be found in the Weary Way Tavern.
Yes.
but was today the day she was going to build that temple that she invited you to go see the site for the new Wild Mother temple?
Yeah, that
Oh,
would
yeah.
be today, according to the timeline.
Ooh, good catch. Yeah, let's head over there then.
So I've got Eritreo and Professor Jabaltrus heading that direction. What are the rest of you doing?
Ford and I are heading towards the Stargazer Tavern.
Yep.
Uh-oh, that means you're leaving Karina to go do something on her own again? Is that a wise decision?
Look, if we could leave her, or she would go off by herself.
This is what Karina will do.
In my defense, I really don't have anything wild planned. I would rather kind of use the day to relax.
We get back and Karina's like 4 Mai Tais deep on the balcony for our party.
I like that.
Yeah, somehow that feels like that might be okay.
Nobody throws beads around here.
So many fourth wall disturbances. So, Karina, are you hanging out the Prancing Centaur with Binder at this point?
I once I'm done hiding the thing, I would like to go to the spa we were in. I sent another message through them to Marisa, a maid who knows Karina's situation, and would hopefully answer to her why her parents have not been answering her.
Okay, that's right. So you're heading over to the Lantern Spire, or the Lucent Spire, I believe. No, Lantern Spire, I think, is where that's located. Let me double check. Yeah, because the Ares Spire is where the new Wild Mother Temple is going to be presiding. The Lucent Spire is where the spa is, which you're heading over to the Diamond Horizon, the high-end bathhouse.
I guess we're going to the Ares Spire also, because that's where the Stargazer is.
That's right, yeah.
Yep, Stargazer is over at the Ares Spire as well. So with that, the 4 of you take a gondola ride over to the Ares Spire, going off in different directions. Eritrea and Professor Jalbatros heading down to the lower sections of the Ares Spire to see where the new Wild Mother Temple is being built, while Foreign and Melody head off in the direction of the Stargazer, built on the highest part of the Ares Spire, but right below, like slightly below where all the airships land and are stationed. So it offers like the best view of all the spires. You know, at night you can see for miles and miles and in all the different directions to, you know, which is how it got its name, the Stargazer, because of it being an opened during the day. Or during the day, its sails are closed to provide shade and comfort, and then at night the sails are rolled back so you can enjoy the sight and the vision. And then Karina heading over to the Lucent Spire to track down any possible communication or response about her inquiry to her parents. Eritrea and Professor Jalbatros, your gradual walk down the gantries and spiral connectors take you into the lower sections of the Ares Spire. And here the this part of the spire it feels older. Before long, you stumble across a construction site. You could see dozens and dozens of workers. You could see a building that's being retrofitted. You could see there's some nearby wardens keeping people away from the construction sites. But you could also see Hakim Kalem Hoofstep. So she went by the name of Kalem. She is over talking to what looks like either builders or architects. She doesn't seem to notice the 2 of you arrive, but she's there.
Well, I kind of point her out to Jalbatros, and I would like to approach her and see if I can get a little bit of her time.
As you and Professor Jalbatros begin to approach the area, you get near to the roped edge. She turns over her shoulder to see you, and what you could guess is a smile, as you know, her face kind of elicits a response, she kind of strides over and, Trio, it is good to see you. You've come on the day of our foundation setting. The foundation stone is to be set today. Thank you for coming. Are you here for pleasure or information?
To be frank with you, information and
Oh, so your name's not Trio. Your name is Frank. Pleasure to meet you, Frank.
Does Eritrea like puns?
I think they go right over his head.
Yeah, right. That was a joke too. Never
Yes.
mind. It's good to see you, Eritrea.
Yes. This is a new. I guess I could call him a friend. This is Professor.
Your friend is known to me, Professor Jabatros. Pleasure to finally meet you. I've read and used some of your works for purposes of religious study and conversation. You come highly recommended.
Oh, forgive me. I don't recall if I've ever responded. This being here in Jrusar has been interesting for me. But a pleasure to meet you in person.
Yes, pleasure.
Forgive me, my kind doesn't have your... Oh, yeah, sorry. Your kind's eidetic memory. You know how we are.
Are you making an elephant joke?
And a bird joke at the same time.
There's this kind of very stoic, ha-ha. Ha-ha. Eritrea, you look lost in thought.
Yes, it feels like something is shifting, and we've been encountering. It feels like things are changing rapidly around here, and I'm a little concerned about what kind of presence has been introduced to Jrusar. Did I tell you about my visions at the fallen Azamar, at Divini's statue in the Dawnfather Temple?
No, you did not.
Well, I felt some sort of connection when I was there, and I felt like I saw Divini, who hasn't been spoken of in nearly a millennium.
There are those that used to worship Divini as a lesser god, or even a story of the beginning of gods, depending on who you choose to believe and what religion you may follow. But Divini is sometimes used by those that need a bit of luck, or are a little bit down, or are praising the firstborn of their family. Not many people use it within the pantheon of their knowledge of holy understanding or godly understanding. It's my understanding that the Dawnfather Temple that is currently built over in the spire, that it was built on an old foundation of an unknown temple post-cataclysm. It's one of the older structures that the Dawnfather Temple inhabits, but it was built upon another structure as well. It's not too unheard of for such old places as Jrusar to be built on top of other buildings and periods of its history. Your connection that you had, was it something that you would call a miracle or a godly connection? How would you describe it?
It felt like a godly connection, and it was very spiritual. I didn't feel like it gave me anything. I didn't feel like it gave me any sort of luck or anything like that. I just had a sense that potentially the Fallen is back in our world in some sort of way.
Interesting. Well, Dravini and the First of Fallen is an ancient myth. It's believed to have happened, before Cataclysm, before the fall. Arcanum was still a relevant time period during Dravini's time. Some even speculate that a wizard of power may have journeyed to the celestial plane and brought something back with them that kind of to propagate this idea of Dravini. There was a cult that used to operate. The word cult can have many negative connotations, but sometimes cults are merely a description of followers who kind of blindly follow something regardless of the possible outcome or intent of its leader. Well, I don't remember at that time who the leader of this cult was. They were known as the World Eaters. They believed that Dravini was a harbinger, a beginning of something new, but only through the destruction of something old. Whether it's a city, a culture, a building, a religion, that information was lost to time.
The professor just wanted to kind of interject in, like, I want to make sure. I'm sure there's been multiple cults with a name like that, but like blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne world eaters, or something different. That sounds like bad news.
Yes, I mean, that could be interpreted as a very aggressive title. But according to the histories and the books, it tells us that these were followers dedicated to the idea of rebirth out of ashes of destruction. Thezadum teaches us that you have to destroy everything to ever build anything. Those cult followers tend to be far more antithesis to good. They're definitely people that you would believe to be evil. Those who follow this idea of Drazine and the First of Fallen, they're more of a redemption follower. Some believe Dravine was the first fallen Azamar and therefore represents that relationship with Azamar in their background. A fallen Azamar is rare, and some say the first would be maybe the origin of the fallen Azamar's story. But to be fallen could also be redeemed. This cult sought to look for those that were broken and use their reasons that broke them as an opportunity of redemption. It was very popular during the period of Arcanum because, as you know, Arcanum is, how shall we say, a period of intense arcane only focused, a period at which we now know post-divergence, after the period of divergence, that a wizard of great power utilized an attempt to become even more ascended than a true god. Some believe that in that attempt is what brought the end of Arcanum as well as the divergence and set about the post-cataclysmic effect of divergence. But it's not uncommon for one religion to blame another. It's, how shall we say, convenient when you don't know the entire truth.
And is there any knowledge on where Dravini may have originally originated?
They named themselves the World Eater. They believed that the focus of the fallen, the First of Fallen that went by the name Dravini, they kind of did the usual cultish things, however. They would claim a relic, a staff, or a circlet, or a garment as being directly connected to Dravini, but history has proven that this is often a method that the cults would use to recruit and garner more followers as an attempt to legitimize their purposes. There was never really much more. The cult of the World Eaters are said to have lasted maybe a century. They kind of fell from grace due to corruption and infighting amongst their numbers. They eventually dispersed to the histories and have never really been seen or heard of since.
Well, would there be any signs, you believe, if they were starting to return?
Oh, signs are the most convenient messaging there is. Does a butterfly flying backwards mean that the world is coming to an end? I don't know. I mean, I would imagine their favorite ceremony takes place at night. They would consult the stars. Their ceremonies would typically involve an artifact of disparate colors, opposite colors of each other, a stone of different color, or a jewel of different color, or maybe something of atonement, or something to be offered up as atonement in different color. They view Dravini as the light and dark of redemption, so they would represent it in similar ways. They would wear garments of yellow and gold and blue. The blue, the darker color, the gold, the binding of the yellow to the blue, the idea of existing duality. Usually their order is a very matriarchal order. No priests would usually be involved. It was strictly a priestess involvement only. Their lower orders would be acolytes or caretakers of the ceremony. And they could be seen in many populated areas asking for donations to seek and locate where Dravini is and help support the ceremonies of bringing redemption back to those that seek her truth. It's not a very unique bit of information. You could probably trace these details to most ways that cults act and behave. Hierarchy, those that serve, focus on ceremony, identify something that they can identify with, and then convince them to go out into the world and seek redemption. It's a common story.
And I appreciate your assistance on this.
Well, as long as you and Professor are here, would you join me for a bit of late morning snack, and you can watch them set the foundation stone inside?
Yes,
The least I can do for you arriving. She holds up the rope. The two of you kind of duck underneath, and she just kind of makes small chat with you as she kind of guides you to the interior of the Wild Mother sanctuary inside. Karina, you're standing in front of the Diamond Horizon, and Nithrissa comes out. Oh, excellent. Are you and your friends come back to make things difficult again? Or is this business and not pleasure?
First of all, Yelp will hear about this. Second of all, I'm only here to pick up my mail, but I apologize for our previous behavior. The difficult member of our group is not... Actually, no, wait, I'm not in Karina form. I'm in some other form because Karina is in trouble right now, so I'll be Sour Ron.
Oh, okay, that's fair. Yes, young dwarf, what can I do for you?
I'm just picking up the mail.
I have lots of mail.
Don't you guys have area that's like designated for VIPs to be able to send and
Yes, but
receive
I'm
mail
afraid
through?
I'm not aware of who you are.
I am a friend of Karina Lambrasso.
Ah, her, I remember. Do you have some form of proof or message that you're here on her business?
I show something that would belong to Karina in an official capacity.
Oh, very well. Follow me. She leads you inside the kind of foyer of the Diamond Horizon, guides you back into the room that had all the parchments and the owls and ravens that could be used to send messages back and forth. There's a very slight male figure behind the counter. You watch as Nefrissa goes up and has a quick conversation and is handed a single parchment. Yes, ma'am. Sorry, this just arrived this morning or possibly last night. I'm not familiar with the person, so I had not sent out a messenger yet. That's quite all right. She has sent her own representative. Nithrissa takes the folded up parchment and hands it to you. It has the wax seal of the family emblem on it.
Thank you so much. And I take it and I walk away.
Okay. You
Oh,
head
wait,
back
actually, I'm
out.
going to ask what kind of bird has brought this in.
Oh, I believe it was a raven that brought it.
Thank you. Is Raven a normal way that they would send?
Yeah, because their, how shall we say, their memorization is better. Ravens are more rote, so they're kind of used to following patterns, so to speak.
Okay. Okay, so that's all good then. So yeah, when I'm, out of sight, I discreetly open the letter.
Pop the wax seal. You start reading it. Sorry for our delay in getting back to you. I apologize. If you seek out the coin trader in the core spire, he goes by the name of Agatha. He has your 5,000 gold that we were able to send you. We would deeply appreciate an update, or at least more frequent updates to your excursions. There have been happenings here at home, and the political alignments of things are shifting rather vigorously. By the way, if you get an opportunity to check in with House Loomis, we'd like to know why we've been cut off and no longer able to access the academic halls.
Ooh.
Love, Mama and Papa.
Oh.
Aw. Okay, not bad. It was technically a letter to the maids that, I guess, I sent them a letter first and they didn't respond, and then I sent to a maid who knows who Karina is to ask if everything was okay.
Yeah, so you haven't gotten a response from the maid yet.
Okay.
This feels like somebody got in touch with your parents, and then they sent a direct response back to you.
Makes sense. Well, I do want that money, so I'm gonna put my better judgment aside. I'll write them a letter later and figure out some solid lie. For now, I'm just gonna go and get the money.
So you're heading to the core spire?
Yes. But I guess first I should check with my Raven and see if he had any luck finding the other Karina.
No, sorry, mistress. I've been looking around the clock. You could hear him mentally chewing on some dead animal or something. Just stopping for a bit of a break this morning, but no luck. Haven't been able to find her.
Understood. Then let me change your assignment real quick. I have recently come to an understanding that... Sorry, I'm looking for the name of the 3 people that we found dead, that we know that belong to the Chandei Quorum. I just want to see if they got replaced.
The 3 badges.
It was
Yeah.
Florian Ashton, Tristan Caldereth, and a counselor of stratagem that I didn't get the name of.
Ooh, can't find his name, but I would like to go look to see if he could find the counselor of stratagem, like where he ought to be, and if he got replaced by somebody else.
Fair enough.
Yes, mistress. I'll do my best.
And begins to, fly off in the different spires to see what he can find out. Mostly heading up towards the core spire to get up into the Chandei Quorum, which I believe is where the core spire. Let me make sure. It's either that or the lantern. Is it the core?
I think the sub house is where the lantern, but Chandei Quorum was at core
It's
spire.
the administrative structures at the very top of the core spire. So your raven heads off in that direction. You find no issue. You take the gondola back over to the core spire. You take the gantry down into the base of the core spire, and sure enough, you find the coin trader's shop. You roll up inside. There's a kind of portly gentleman with glasses and a bald head.
Yes, how can I help you, Master Dwarf?
Actually, I think I probably should take Karina's form for this, since...
How can I help you, ma'am?
I was told that I might be able to pick up some money that was fantasy version of Wired to me.
Oh, do you have... Normally, you would have a ring or a signet that I could match it to.
I pull out my signet.
Okay. You reach in, pull out the small ring that you don't publicly wear, but you keep in a pocket. Says, "Oh, very good. Allow me." He takes the ring from you, reaches up onto a shelf, pulls down a copper box, uses the ring to flip the lid open on it. He goes, of course, here you go. And he hands you 5 platinum bars worth 100 gold apiece.
Oh my god, wait, how much does that come up to be?
Sorry, 10 platinum bars worth 100 gold apiece. No, 5, because 5,000 gold. So yeah. So 5 platinum bars worth 100 gold apiece would be 5,000 gold.
Yes. I miss this feeling. This feeling of not having to worry about this.
Here's your ring back, ma'am.
Relocks the box and sets up. Is there anything else I can do for you?
When did you receive how does your system work here as far as receiving gold?
Oh, well, we receive a signed message from the coin trader location that would be nearest the point of the origin of the money. That is then sent to me via magical means. I then confirm the signature and the origin of the funding. I then process that. I'm able to pull from the general coin trader's funds. That is then placed in a box with your signet attached to it, so that only somebody with your signet could actually collect the funds.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Of course. If you are in need of our services in the future, we can send money to Ankarel. We have trading houses in almost every major city. If for any reason you need a rather large sum of money sent to someone in quick fashion, we are here to aid you.
Thank you so much. And I leave.
Okay. Head out.
Can I just do a quick... I'm just gonna check real quick if there is anything magical inside or around this box.
The box that he pulled the platinum bars out of?
Yes.
Are you doing detect magic then?
I guess I'm doing just detect magic on the bars themselves to make sure that none of them are enchanted.
The bars are definitely not enchanted or have any magical, but the room that you're in lights up like a theater. It's like all the boxes are magical. Agatha, the portly gentleman, is got 5 or 6 different magical items on him. So the space you're in feels highly enchanted, like with lots of enchantment componentry. But the 5 bars of platinum feel and look to be ordinary bars.
Oh, okay, so I'll just use this opportunity to see if he's selling any potions or anything.
Oh no, I do not trade in such goods. Sorry.
Understood.
I'm a coin trader. That's the business I'm in.
Completely fair. Was I able to recognize any of the enchantments?
You get the feeling they're all linked to the different boxes. The same identity enchantment that was used to retrieve your bars. There's dozens of other brass boxes on shelves. There's other people using the coin traders. So all the magic you're experiencing is probably the magic that he uses to secure the boxes, and then how they're opened in order for their contents to be retrieved by people that claim them.
Also, do you trade in anything other than coin?
Yes, we can transfer gems, jewelry, metal objects. So even though technically your platinum bars are not coin, they represent valuation of coin. So we can trade in ingots as well. Small bits of relic items or things that need to be transported quickly for purposes of other people's use. We also have been dabbling a bit in art and sculpture as well.
Oh, interesting. I'm a friend of, and I assume Karina remembers the name of the person who was like the art auction person.
Oh, you slide.
Hang on, the Gray Maker lady?
Yes.
Brandsworth.
Ah.
Brandsworth, the guy who
Yep.
did the painting, correct?
Hey, that's the guy that did the painting.
Is that who you were mentioning?
I was actually going to mention the lady, but it feels like Brandsworth might be the better choice, actually. So let's go with him.
So the Gray Makers, you would remember that Rosalavar was the master curator of the Gray House auction, the Gray Makers, and then of course you remember Brandsworth. You can mention both names if you'd like to.
I'll mention both names.
Okay. Rosalavar, not familiar to me, but I do maintain a box here of Brandsworth. I believe he is currently located in the Hellcatch Valley, the High King's Chair, the High King's City, I believe.
Oh, yeah. No, I've met him a few times. He's great. Is he looking to do business in this town? Do you know?
Oh, I have no idea. All I know is that he does business with coin traders in the High King City, and recently some trade has gone back and forth, but other than that, I don't know much.
Are you sure it's not, and I say her name again, just to try and angle more information about who it is?
No,
Because I know that
Rosalavar is not a name I'm familiar with. I do not believe the coin house has business with her.
that's weird. Maybe it's like one of her other names, because I know she's like has a lot of nicknames.
You seem awfully interested in other people's business, young lady.
Well, she is a good friend of mine. I would like to keep up with her a little bit. But yeah, no,
Give me a persuasion check on this conversation.
God knows I need it. Oh, hell yeah, it's 24.
Before. Well, I don't normally give out information about patrons that use our house, but I can assure you that Rosalavar does not use our accommodations. However, there is a member of the Grey Makers that I do a great deal of business with, and he goes by the name of Jarvan Soot, a tiefling gentleman.
Oh, you know what? I think they dated for a while. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
I find this conversation confusing and interesting at the same time.
I just like gossip. You know us, young girls.
Clearly,
It's
you
easy.
do like gossip, and you seem to be very good at it.
I mean, what else am I gonna do with my days, right? Well, it was nice talking to you. Bye.
Yeah.
That she naturally leaves in a very natural way.
Bye.
Okay, so Jarvan Soot might be in contact with Bragsworth.
Let's
Not really
take
sure.
our 5-minute break, and when we come back, we'll see what kind of trouble Foreign and Melody get into. Because
I
it's
PM'd you the name now. I found it took me a minute to get it in my notes. So.
I just wanted to make, I knew what it was, but I wanted to make
Yep.
sure it wasn't something else. So,
Yep. Nope. I PM'd you the name.
all right,
Hey, you're big.
a big.
funny. I thought it was Father Atrium, but I wasn't 100% sure. So thank you for clarifying that.
Yep. Didn't trust that guy at all.
Wait, are we going to see Father Atrium?
He's
Maybe.
coming. Yeah, he's.
That's
We're going
not
to
what
the.
I thought.
We're going to start. I told you it wouldn't be who you thought it was,
Okay.
but I didn't trust the guy when we talked to him. So.
Oh yeah, he's got something going on.
It's always so distrustful. It's like the first campaign nearly ruined you guys.
Yeah.
Look, no, the Father H, like what first, that was my whole deal, was like, what, because he was like, how can we repay you thing, and he was like, well, you're a bounty hunter, aren't you? And I'm like, hold on.
Weird thing for a priest to say.
Exactly. So that was why I was like, no, I don't know about this guy.
Why is it that Eritrea keeps getting the spooky evil angel sense at the Dawnfather Temple? That seems like bad.
Right. But
Yeah, I don't know
also,
if we
like,
can trust this Lexodon too much. Good call out on that one, Kurt. Their robes.
yeah. But at the same time, I didn't want to say we're going to go see the Dawnfather Temple, and then Eritrea would be like, oh, we're going to the Dawnfather Temple. And also, I'm not going to go meet that guy on his grounds anyway. So
Yeah.
Fair.
I'm kind of surprised he is agreeing to come meet us at a.
Oh, I don't know if he did. I just sent the message to him.
Yeah,
so
his
we're gonna
message
go
only
there.
goes one way.
It's only it's a one-way notice. So
Okay.
yeah. But I know who it went to, and I know who I was sending it. So he either shows up at the allotted time, or he doesn't.
As you guys arrive,
And I will have told Melody, like, on the way. I would have been like, once we get away from the group, I would have been like, look, we're gonna go see that the father from the Father Atrium from the Dawnfather Temple. I didn't trust him the last time we talked to him, but I don't know if you remember. But he said we were discussing payment, remember? And he said, well, you know, you're a bounty hunter, so I assume he may have had something for me to track down, but never in all my time have I had a priest reach out to me like that. So
Yeah,
I
that
don't
did
trust him.
seem weird. Do you think maybe he just knew that you hadn't done a ton of bounty hunting?
Who knows? At the same time, I don't want to let him know that there may be some powerful artifact discovered. So I sent him an odd request and said, hey, what do you know about a heart star? Come meet me at the Starlight Stargazer Tavern.
You think he'll show up?
I don't know. We'll see.
as the two of you arrive at the lower section of the Airy Spire, like right underneath where all the airships come in, it's mostly skiff activity. There's the occasional medium-sized airship that's kind of leaving or coming in, but none of the grand kind of intercontinent airships that travel from Jrusar to Ankarel to Amon to Vasselheim to Nicodranus, those great larger airships that travel those great distances. No sign of those being operated recently, at least not in the day's activity. The two of you kind of walk into the Stargazer Tavern. There's the familiar Goliath fellow for you, Foreign, behind the bar. He gives you a very nervous look, and he points to someone sitting in the corner, and they are wearing Dawnfather colors, but she has a very intense look about her. As you stare at her and you stare back at the Goliath, he kind of gives you the notion that that person, like, he kind of pantomimes that, you know, that person's asking for you.
I'll walk up to him and order a couple of drinks. And
Hey. Listen, Fawn, she didn't get your name from me. She came in here, said that she needed to speak with you urgently, and the moment that I saw you come in, I should let her know, but I'm not letting her know now. She's an inquisitor, born. She's a Dawnfather inquisitor. They look for heretics, doomsayers, and people that are working against the Dawnfather Church. That's her business. I mean,
Right. That's odd. But what do you think she likes to drink?
Do you think it's like a white wine, or is she more of a cider girl?
you know what? I don't know. I'd take her a cider. Take her a cider. You can never go, as my wife always said. No, I'm not going to say that joke. Let's saying it. He pulls out this kind of very crude looking bottle with a little metal lid on it that pops open, and he slides it over. Fawn, what do you and Melody want? Melody, you need to control your drinking. You and your sister got a little carried away last time you were here.
What do you mean? We were so much fun. Everyone.
Well, yeah, there's fun, and then there's a bit cringy at the end of the day. Just mind your alcohol by volume. Mind your ABVs.
I'll have that beer that dwarf ordered for me.
Yeah, wasn't that good? And he pours one, makes it, puts it together, puts it in front of you. Fawn, what do you want to drink?
I guess I'll have the same.
Okay, here you go. And
I drop a gold on the counter. I know it's more than the drinks are worth, but for the information and everything else.
Yeah, I'm always keeping an eye out for you, Fawn. Pulls the coin towards him. Two of you stand there looking over at the woman sitting at the table. As you
I take both drinks.
Ooh.
As you glance at her, she's got the Dawnfather Inquisitor's signet on her forehead. Her long kind of red hair, her bright green eyes, and the obvious elven nature of her appearance. Her robes, she doesn't appear to carry any weapon. She's got a small metal book on the table in front of her. It's got a very kind of intricate looking mechanism on it. There's also a very kind of splendid looking leather messenger bag that's hanging off of her chair. The one thing the two of you distinctly notice is that there's no one sitting near her. The place is relatively crowded for the mid-morning crowd of people coming in for the day. But all the tables around here are noticeably empty.
So before we turn around from the Goliath, I will cast Detect Magic. That way it's not in her view.
30 feet, right? 30 feet?
It's 30 feet, yeah. But I mean, it's a 10-minute it's a 10-minute spell. So I want to cast it, and then I'll turn around and walk towards her. Okay. That way, I can see what she might be wearing or what she's got with her.
Okay. So as
after that description from the Goliath. So
as you and Melody begin to approach her, the emblem on her forehead is giving off an evocation magic. The book is giving off divinity magic. The messenger bag is giving off an enchantment magic. There's a necklace that she's wearing that appears to be divinity magic. Her robe that she's wearing over her garments is an enchantment magic. And you also notice 2 rings on her left hand that are giving off evocation magic. She is well healed with magical items in her possession.
Yeah, she's not carrying any weapons.
No weapon that you could see, no.
So I've cast it. I turn and look at her and smile real goofy and big, and start walking up. I'll sit at I'll awkwardly with my foot slide out Melody's chair because I have drinks in both hands.
Right.
So I'll just kind of do foot slide, slide out the corner of the foot or the corner of the chair, and I'll sit down and I'll set the cider over for her. Now you are not who I expected.
Yes, unfortunately, Father Atrium is busy at the moment. He got me your message, and I would appreciate you and your friend here taking a seat so that we may discuss this information that you attempted to share with Father Atrium?
Oh, I wasn't sharing anything. I was asking for information. You are sorely mistaken. I apologize.
I'm
Oh,
Melody,
actually-
by the way. What's your name?
My name is Elias. Pleasure
Elia.
to meet you.
Now, I had asked if he knew anything about something because I just heard this word on the wind of this thing, and it sounded like it might be a very expensive item. And if I was to somehow find a way to procure it or know where it might be, I might be interested in selling it. But I would like to know beforehand what it does, what it might be.
Give me a persuasion check on that one.
Right on.
Can I give help action by nodding and trying to slide her the cider?
Yeah, okay. I like that.
All right. Oh, let me find another D20. Here we go. Whew. Rough. That's a 12. I have a +5. I rolled a 7 and a 4.
Oh, brutal.
As the cider slides over to her, the cider, suddenly the cap pops open on its own. The bottle pours into a glass by itself. The glass kind of floats over in front of Aelith, and she picks it up and goes, "Oh, thank you, one of my favorites. Before I answer any of your questions, I would like to know why a person in the profession of bounty hunter has come across something called the Heart Star. I'd like to know who you heard it from and how you know about it. Give me a wisdom save, if you would, please, Foreign.
Yeah. Ha! Nat 20. So that's a 22.
She curves her finger back towards herself as you have to re-roll.
And well, I'm going to, as she does that, knowing this is a familiar sensation, I'm going to like cock my pistol under the table very obviously, like knock it to the bottom of the table, looking her dead in the eye.
She makes no change whatsoever.
Yep. I rolled the other dice and it was 2. A 4.
You feel compelled to tell her the truth.
Okay. So came across this big weird rock, and we were talking to people about it, and they said that we were investigating it, and as we came around investigating, we did a little spell magic on it, and
Whoa, Foreign.
yes,
Yeah.
Melody?
Yeah. We found a stone in a lake, and we don't know what else happened to it.
She arches an eyebrow over at Melody and then back over at you. Melody, make a wisdom save, if you would, please.
Does she not have to concentrate on whatever she did to Foreign?
She has magic. Can I shake it off? Like, can I like when she changes her or not concentrated, but she changes her target? Is this something that I would feel that I could shake off?
This feels like an area of effect.
Okay. Question then: can I roll insight against Melody's stopping me?
Sure.
Like to get that I'm doing something that I shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, feel free.
All right, but I'm.
You can even use your passive insight if it's better than your roll.
Hang on. Sorry. Yep, I'll take passive. It's a 15 passive.
15. Okay.
I got a 23 on my wisdom save.
23. You get the feeling that Melody doesn't understand why you're telling the truth when she tells an obvious lie to the person. Melody, for your purposes, you feel like you're in a zone of truth and it didn't quite take hold to you. But you get the feeling that the zone of truth is emanating from the metal book in front of Elith that's sitting on the table.
Elia, I don't know you that well, but did you just cast magic on us without asking? That's extremely rude.
No, I cast no magic whatsoever.
I mean, I can obviously tell that you did. I can tell it's coming from that book. That's
Oh,
like
maybe.
so incredibly
I'm-
rude. Why would you do that?
I'm interested in understanding why your
you know
friend.
what? We're not, Elliot, can I be candid? We're not interested in talking to you anymore. This is completely unacceptable.
When I hear her say something about the book, I'm going to I'm going to turn my pistol up and shoot through the table to shoot it off the table.
You notice that your pistol's no longer in your hand.
What in hell's? I'm gonna
The
stand
pistol's
up
now
and
on
try to.
top. The pistol's now on top of the table.
What in hell's going on here? Now I'm gonna actually grab for the book.
Okay. You grab it. It doesn't move.
Foreign,
Right.
come on, it's time to
Yep.
go.
I agree. Pick my gun back up, and we'll.
By the way,
I'll-
we'll be telling Professor Atrium about this because this
I'm
was-
gonna chug the beer first, though, and then we're gonna
You're
go.
sitting very passively watching the two of you get up and leave after drinking your drinks.
We should follow her.
I don't know if I want to. She seems pretty powerful.
I didn't say right up close.
And with that passive insight, you also get the feeling she was probably using detect thoughts. So she was probably doing your surface thoughts the entire time you were talking to her.
Right. Well, my surface thoughts went from we started to tell a thing, she interrupted, and then it went to what's going on here? Why do we? Is everything all right?
Yeah.
That's immediately. I didn't get to the whole story of where everything was. It went, what's going on?
Well, she got some of your story.
She did, yeah.
So where are the two of you when you go to leave? Do you go to leave the Stargazer Tavern itself, or do you linger over by the bar? Where do you go?
No, I'm going to suggest. Well, I'll suggest the Melody first. I say, hey, look, why don't you go one way, and I'll step out and find a spot to hide, and we'll wait for a minute and see if she follows.
Well, I'm not separating from you because it seems like she's really powerful and she got a pretty good hold on you pretty quick.
Look, that was weird. I don't know how to describe that, but at the same time, I felt that itching on my forehead. I felt that before, and I was able to shake it off. And I
Yeah.
thought I did at first, and then it was like, hang on. Oh, it hit me again, and man, it was got kind of a headache.
So you think Father Atrium wanted her to do that?
Look, I don't know much about these Inquisitors actually, but seeing as everybody else in the bar seems to know about them and wanted to stay well away from her, I don't know that I trust them. I mean, I didn't trust Father Atrium to begin with, but I don't like that name, Inquisitors. I thought the Dawn Father was a good guy.
Yeah, this seems really aggressive right away. I think that it feels like this Hearthstone must be something really crazy for them to attack us like that instantly.
Can I first? I want to find a place to. I want to find a place to step back where I could get my rifle out and just scope on her, and look at her insignia again, and see if what I'm.
She remains at the table, so
Right.
she's still at the table sipping her drink.
But I'm trying to get to a place where I wouldn't be directly, easily noticed, like line of sight kind of scene.
The bar's crowded, so I mean, with the sails are drawn, the paneling's been dropped for purposes of shade. She's at the very back. You get the feeling she's positioned herself this way to make it almost impossible for people to kind of be able to keep an eye on her. Like, I will say, give me a perception check as you're kind of looking around and trying to figure out where you can position yourself to maybe get a focus or to get an opportunity to stare at her more intently without her noticing.
All right, that's a 14 for perception.
Okay. You don't see it, but you notice that she kind of tilts her head to the left as if she's speaking to someone over her shoulder, but you don't see anyone she's speaking to. You just notice her do that. You get the feeling that there's someone else with her.
She's not alone here, Melody.
This is
She-
really messed up.
She turns her head. She does this thing like this with her, like she's talking to somebody, but I don't see anybody else there. I know the professor.
And
could
your
do
detect magic didn't pick up anything. So while you were over there, like you didn't notice any other unexplainable form that had magical items either. It's weird.
Okay. I'm going to. I'm going to. I'll look over at Melody. I'll be like, look, just trust me. I'll be right back. And I'm going to cast Ambush Prey.
Okay.
While he's doing that, can
I want to go get popcorn because this is getting really cool. I just want to eat popcorn as you guys plot what you're trying to do. I love it.
While he's doing that, can I cast Enthrall? It's basically a spell that lets me weave a distracting string of words, causing creatures of my choice to have to make a wisdom saving throw. And if they fail, they have -10 to wisdom checks and passive perception.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah. Are you targeting her?
Yeah, I'd be targeting her, and if there's a creature on her shoulder, targeting that creature. Oh, I can't see it, so never mind. But I'd be targeting her. And
Okay.
the way that I'm weaving this distracting string of words is to go to the bartender and be like, "Did you see what she just tried to do to us? You should throw her out. This is outrageous. And our drink should be free also."
That's awesome because that's a great distraction for. I'm going to cast Ambush Prey, which turns me invisible for an hour until I end the spell by doing whatever to the prey or after the hour's up. And then I'm going to Misty Step up to a ledge outside, like at a nearby building by the entrance to the bar.
Okay. Gotcha.
So and then Misty Stepping, like I'll disappear and then I'll Misty Step up there so that it's not seen that I did the Misty Step. The whole point was to
Right.
to hide because if they saw the Misty Step, they'd okay. But if they see invisibility, they're going to expect me to probably still be on the ground somewhere.
Okay. That's fair. So, Melody, you lose track of Thorn.
Mhm.
And as you're complaining to the bartender, you watch as the bartender's eyes go wide.
Where is he? Is he looking behind me?
Uh-huh.
I'll look around.
As you turn to look, she's standing right behind you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to disturb you and your friend. I was merely testing to make sure that you and your friend weren't, how shall we say, gossipers, rumor spreaders, anti-Dawn Father people. It's a subtle test I use to make sure that people that I'm treating with can be reliably believed in what story they're about to tell me. Master Goliath, another cider, if you would, and Melody, what can I buy you so that we can have a better conversation? I find your friend Fawn to be very mistrusting and anxious. Your form, however, I find to be a bit more relaxing, and I see that you are religious as well. You practice a bit of the knowledge as well. Give me a wisdom save, Melody, if you would, please.
All right.
So the roof of this place is canvas, right? It's just
Correct.
canvas drawn, right? Assuming it's not like a tent where it's one big solid piece. If it's like low,
Yeah, they're rolled up pieces that have been rolled out to provide shade.
So there could be sight inside, right?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay, can I with my scope be taking a look into the bar, like, because no one came out, so now I'm looking to see, like, checking the lobes. Like,
Yeah,
for
give
anything
me
like-
perception with advantage because you'd be at height.
Okay.
What'd you get, Melody?
I haven't rolled yet.
I was hoping Ford would just kill her and get it
Yeah.
over with.
I got a 9.
A 9?
You immediately feel a wave of calm emotions descend over you. And while your anger is still present, you feel a little less distrustful, but your curiosity keeps you heightened. She stands alongside you, pours her own cider, and then the Goliath very nervously puts a cider in front of you. No worries, ma'am. On the house. I got people to tend to down here. Good day. And he kind of like shifts his Goliath form down further down the bar, kind of giving you and Ilya the space. Foreign, as you look through and you're panning, what'd you get?
I rolled double threes. Remember last game? I rolled like 2 different sets of doubles, and none of them are ever on an attack. It's all for these.
I know.
Yeah, like it was like double eights, double fives.
With
now
the
it's double
breeze
threes.
kind of fluttering and kind of you can't see her anymore. You can't quite get a visual. You get a brief visual of the table where she was at, but you don't see her sitting there anymore. And then you begin to pan some more, unable to see.
Would I see the bartender like move to the other side of the bar at all?
No, you don't have a good visual of the bar at this point.
Okay.
Let me better explain myself. I have a very specific job to do. You see, people enjoy spreading rumor and falsehood. These rumor and falsehood could bring great harm to the Dawnfather Church and those of their followers. My responsibility to the entirety of the Dawnfather Church is to make sure that these rumors neither harm those that start them or harm those that believe them. I can guarantee you, while my abilities grant me advantage into information and knowledge you may not be willing to share, I can assure you, I'm a very decent person who wants nothing more than to preserve the enlightenment of the Dawnfather.
I think a decent person probably would have asked us the questions instead of casting the spell.
Well,
Right?
I unfortunately was told that your friend Fawn was a bounty hunter. In my line of work, they're never to be trusted. Anyone who can be paid for the purposes of killing or retrieving somebody for no other reason than coin, I find distrustful.
So you must not know that Father Atrium tried to hire for him.
This causes her for the first time to let the veneer kind of crack.
Interesting. It would seem that we both have the ability to trade information then. You have some information about the Heart Star, and I would be very eager to understand why your friend Fawn thinks Father Atrium tried to hire him.
Who's sitting on your shoulder? Who are you talking to?
No. You saw that, did you? Sorry.
Pantea, you may come out now. You watch as an exact duplicate of Eliath steps out from behind her, except it's pure shadow. It's an echo of herself. You watch as the echo just stands there, kind of tapping its foot Peter Pan style alongside Eliath.
Whenever I have to do this on my own, I bring my shadow with me. Their responsibility is to make sure that I'm not threatened. My shadow tells me that the gun that your friend Fawn was using was quite nice. I had no intention of keeping it, but my shadow would not allow harm to become of me.
We didn't come intending to do any harm.
Ah, but Fawn's message to Father Atrium expressing interest in the knowledge of the Heart Star is but the beginning of possible harm.
What even is the Heart Star? Why are you so concerned about it?
Those that once followed the understanding of the Heart Star found it to be very, how shall we say, anti-religious. There are those that would wager that the gods are nothing more than narcissistic, self-indulgent creatures of power. And then there are those that believe that the Heart Star is actually the proof that the gods were never first. That the Heart Star represents the idea that the first have fallen is the origin of all belief. The people known as the World Eaters tried to espouse this some time ago. Many in my order who span many generations saw to it that their misinformation and their falseness could not be spread to the greater world, and they were dealt with appropriately. Unfortunately, with this mention to Father Atrium, he felt compelled to, well, he had no choice, it's part of the oath, but he felt compelled to inform me that the Heart Star had come up in a brief conversation with Fawn.
So you're scared there might be some evidence that the gods didn't come first. And
No,
you'd rather
Ryan.
cover it up than find out whether it's true.
She smiles at you, and I always find it interesting that a believer in the gods is also a skeptic in the gods. Isn't that interesting? Just
I don't know
holds
if
to your nature, doesn't it?
Why does it matter if the gods were first? Doesn't it just matter who's best?
Oh, well, I can assure you this is not a competition of likability.
If it were, I'm not sure you would win.
Yes, you are quite gorgeous, aren't you? It's hard in this world when you have a very specific job to do, and the outcome of your choices have sent many people to places that, well, let's just say my responsibility to the Dawn Father is a bit final for some. Father Atrium has been under great suspicion for some time. You watch as Elith looks around, leans in a little bit uncomfortably close to your ear. I believe Father Atrium intends to hire Fawn for a purpose I have not yet been able to reveal. I do not believe Father Atrium is, how shall we say, loyal to the cause. And she kind of leans away, takes a drink, and stares back at you very passively. So, the Heart Star. Let me rephrase my question. You being a person of divine belief, do you believe it to be a true thing? Does it exist in your mind? Do you believe that you saw this thing?
I don't really know anything about the Heart Star. First thing I heard about it was today. So I have no idea.
Fascinating. You would make a great politician. You answered the question without answering it. That was very well done. Look, I agree we got off on a wrong foot, and I apologize for that. Once again, my distrust is more for your friend Fawn versus you. Perhaps when the mood is more telling, we can have a separate conversation. You can find me over at the Dawn Father Temple if you choose to, and perhaps have a different conversation in a different way. She finishes her drink, smiles at you, and just kind of, you watch as her echo fades into her physical form, and then you watch as she just leaves the place. At that point, Fawn, you see Elith kind of walk out the front steps. She looks up exactly where you are, winks into your scope, and then turns to walk back towards the gondolas that will take her back towards the spire that she came from.
So that was creepy. But I want to specifically look at her garb. If there's anything that looks inaccurate, maybe is the word for like the Dawnfather.
You give me history or religion on that one. You had enough exposure to it that you could, So yeah, you give me history or religion. I know it's not your strong suit, but
Nope. That'd be 2 because I have a plus
2.
1.
I mean, you don't really know enough about religious adornments. The one thing you can say with certainty, she is wearing the Dawnfather colors. You get the feeling that her necklace is a signet of her power, and she was exuding a great amount of power. The Goliath seemed to be convinced she was an Inquisitor. Therefore, you have no real belief at this point that she's not an Inquisitor.
Yeah, I guess the thought was more like if it was a sect of the Dawnfather that is a bit more abrasive or
just off of what the Goliath did.
closer to lawful evil than lawful good of the.
Well, I mean, all religion is neutral. It is, right? It all serves its own purpose. So you get the feeling that this might be a more aggressive wing of the Dawnfather's society that seeks and stamps out falsehoods and blasphemies and stuff that would erode at the power of the Dawnfather.
I really want to shoot at her, but I'm not going to do it. I really like. And I guess I'm still, if that wasn't an hour, I'm still invisible. So she saw me through my invisibility. Okay.
She did.
Okay. Ugh.
Melody's like walked out of the bar and is looking around like, Thorn, what was the plan? Are you?
Yeah, you can see Melody like talking to no one, just looking around, wondering where you are, like flailing.
I'll drop the invisibility part and like shimmy down the side of the building that I was on top of.
Okay.
She saw me.
She saw you?
Yeah. You couldn't see me. She saw. She looked right at me. Right at me.
She's pretty powerful.
Yeah, I don't like that woman.
I don't like her either. I think she approached us totally wrong. I don't know if she's bad, but she didn't have any scruples about using magic on us a bunch of times.
Right. What? I saw she left the table, but I couldn't. I lost her after that. I couldn't see through the tent. Did you? What happened?
She came up to me at the bar and offered me another drink, and we talked a little bit. The thing she was talking to was like a shadow creature, and she said she didn't have hostile intentions towards us, but that her job is to stamp out falsehoods, and sort of seemed to imply that the existence of the Heartstone might mean that like the gods didn't come first, which she thought was a really big deal. Who cares?
Why is that such a big deal?
And she made a big deal about like kind of stink about how you were a bounty hunter. And I told her, you know, Father Atrium had tried to hire you, and that kind of freaked her out. And she told me, I'll be like whispering this part. She told me she thinks Father Atrium is like a bad guy, maybe. So
really,
yeah, kind of consistent with what we thought. But
would you like to try and follow up with Father Atrium?
Follow Atrium or follow Elia?
Follow up with Atrium.
I don't know. I do kind of think Atrium might be a bad guy, right?
Right. So I mean, I can send him another message, and I can be a little more. Look, what I told him, I said, what do you know about a Heartstone? Meet me at the Stargazer at noon. That's all I said. So again,
Tell him your
Uh,
agent attacked us. We didn't appreciate it.
right. So I could tell him that, but then I think maybe
Do
we
you have any
head
more
towards
trinkets on him, or would that burn that trinket?
sending the message doesn't burn it. It's the burning it is the hearing and seeing from it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now let me say I could send him a message, but we could go back to the temple and post up outside of the place, and well, he wouldn't expect you because I didn't tell him I was bringing anybody. It may be more natural for you to go and call on him, but I can hide out around somewhere perhaps, and maybe you could see what his reaction is when I ring him up and tell him we met his friend.
You want me to just post up outside and like look through a window while you call him?
Oh, perhaps if you just go in.
Party girl specialty.
Well, I was suggesting if you went to meet the Dawnfather, you are familiar to the temple. That's
Sure.
why I suggested you come with me, because I thought for sure you'd be recognizable. But now apparently we see people we never met before. But in this case, perhaps we head towards the Dawnfather temple. Maybe we'll beat Miss alive back there. Or if we don't, it is what it is. Perhaps you'll see her inside. But either way, if you go inside, I'll count to, I don't know, 100. And then I'll send him a message. And hopefully that's giving him enough time that perhaps you'll be in his presence when I talk to him.
Seems like maybe the Dawnfather Temple might not be that safe. Should we wait until we have the whole crew and then go?
All right.
Eritrea has an excuse to be there.
Right. Sure.
Or call the crew to meet us.
You
Certainly.
guys gonna go look for everybody else?
Well, I know one Corinna, I think, has a trinket, but the other two, I don't think you guys have a trinket.
We've given them to everyone, right?
Yeah.
I think
I know
Professor
you don't.
Albatross has one too. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't.
All right, then I'll do that. I'll send a message to her.
It's like, I don't have one of your trinkets.
Well, yeah, Trauma had it, and yeah, we know what happened there. But so I'll send a message to them and just have them meet us at the gondola landing closest to the Dawnfather Temple.
Okay. Which is in the Lantern
That's in the Lantern
Spire.
Spire, yeah.
It is.
Not
So-
far from-
So, Eritrea, while you and Professor Jalbatross are being escorted around the interior of the Wild Mother's Temple that's being built, the entire interior is scaffolded. You can see a group of people have just laid the foundation stone of the altar. Beyond the altar is the Tree of Life, this live tree that's growing up into the backside of the building, and kind of the boughs of the tree are arching over as part of the rooftop on the interior. It's well lit and the windows are being retrofitted, and it's kind of that feeling of an old medieval temple or chapel that's being kind of converted. You can see pews are being installed, and you guys spend about a half hour traveling around with Calum as she kind of guides you and gives you. So at this point, because of the time you spent with Calum, anytime you need to make a religion check about the Wild Mother, you guys will have advantage on that check, as you are now kind of privy to a lot of more advanced conversation about what the order thinks, the interpretation of the Wild Mother, the connection with nature, the idea of healing and goodness, and kind of the use of kindness as opposed to aggressive measures towards people that are within the Wild Mother's service. They tend to be druids and healers and people connected directly with nature. So you've gained a lot more information, and whenever you make religion or history checks about the Wild Mother, you'll have advantage.
I'd like, if I'm able to, once we are kind of out of the way, she's given us the grandeur. Professor Jalvatron would actually like to talk to her.
By yourself, or
Well, sorry, Retro can be there. It's just he kind of had a thought. It's like, well, I'm in a temple dedicated to nature and everything. Perhaps Callum might be able to answer some questions for me.
yeah, go for it.
Excuse me. I'd like to, Callum. Just a quick
Yes.
question.
Of course.
In the time since we corresponded, such as it was, and again, forgive me, but I don't want to say taken up a new profession. I've been forced into other work. I don't know if you know this. This is not a brag per se. But I have entered into the services of an eagle god. I'm doing some work for him, but he appears to be a bit stubborn. I speak 7 languages. None of them are beast languages. He has chosen not to speak in any of them. Could you perhaps point me to some resources to better communicate with them? Do you have
What
any?
is the name of your deity that you serve?
Rimnus, the eagle god.
Oh, I am only scantily familiar with Aarakocran lore and mythology and religion.
See, that's the weirdest thing. He's not an Aarakocran god. Ours speak to us. They don't just randomly hoot and caw. He's a god of eagles. I am not that. I'm an Aarakocran, as you see.
Oh, I see. Why your interest in such a unique deity then? Perhaps they don't answer you because they don't exist.
I pull out my talisman of Rimnus. No, he's made me a paladin of his order, and
Well, was he able to communicate that he made you a paladin?
I mean, he showed me images, and
so he communes through visions then.
He does, but I've also heard other stories and seen histories of other beings where it's that Yogi. Jesus Christ! I was able to piece together. He was not the main area of study of mine, but I know of other cults of his. I know of other researchers who have relationships with giant eagles who'd spoken of him. He's not an unintelligent being. I think he might just be a little chaotic and likes to have his humanoid disciples figure things out for their own in places, and I think this might be one of those tests, trying to figure out how to better communicate with him.
Well, we have not been able to establish a library here yet. However, there is a library up on the level of the Chandei Quorum that might be helpful. The Crystal Chant. The Crystal Chant is an independent academia that serves all members of the community. I don't really know of anybody there to speak with directly, but let's just say their acquisition of information and studies may be unique enough that they may have offerings for you.
I appreciate your assistance with this. Thank you so much.
No matter the belief, it's always helpful to help the cause, of course. At that moment, Jabaltros, you hear Forn in your mind to meet you at the gondola landing of the Lucent Spire.
All right. I just turn to Eric and be like, I believe Ford is trying to reach out to us. He would like us to meet him at the gondola dock at the Lucent Spire. So,
It seems urgent, doesn't it?
yeah, it sounded like it.
Yes. Well, Kaleem, I cannot thank you enough.
Fuck him, I'm going to go get a beer.
Kaleem, I want to thank you for your kindness and knowledge.
Of
and
course.
I definitely would like to see this temple upon its full completion. So you'll see me again.
If you're ever in need of healing or any kind of aid, you can always find me here. Which point the two of you head towards the Lucent Spire gondola. Karina, at some point during your wanderings, you would hear Forn's urgent call to meet at the Lucent Spire gondola landing as well.
I make sure my newly acquired riches are in wrist pocket spell thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I make my way.
Okay. Forn and Melody, when you arrive at the gondola landing, eventually you watch as the others arrive from different directions, but the five of you are now gathered on the core spire landing that will take you to the Lucent Spire landing.
Guys, that meeting did not go well at all.
First, I apologize for the deception. Okay, Eritrea, I was requesting to meet Father Atrium of the Dawnfather Temple. I had messaged him saying, what do you know about this hot star? And continue.
So he sent this scary inquisitor lady who tried to cast a bunch of spells on us.
Did successfully.
Did actually successfully cast some spells on some of us, both of us.
All right.
And we did get away, but she was super aggressive. She wanted to know about the Heart Star. She was really worried about it. She was like saying, the Heart Star results in false stories, that like the first fallen came before the gods, and it's her job to eradicate stories like that. It was not good. Also, I told her that Father Atrium had tried to hire Forn, and she really did not like that and said that she thought that Father Atrium might be corrupt.
Oh.
So it didn't go sort of as we had hoped.
But we did find an answer, because I did think he was corrupt.
Well, the gathering of knowledge is valuable. Why did you instantly jump to tell them about the Heart Star?
I wasn't telling him, I was asking. Then that crazy spell thing she cast. I thank you for interrupting me, because I would have told her everything.
Is there a chance that she would know? Whisper, where we keep it?
I wasn't thinking about that at the time. She had asked me about. She told me to tell her the whole story, and so I started with, we were down in the thing, and we found this big giant rock in the water, and it wasn't much after that Melody thankfully interrupted and threw me off topic. But I had that itchy feeling in my forehead when somebody's like looking in my brain, and I could tell. So I know she was peering in there, but I don't think she dug deep in there. Not that there's a lot to find. It's all right. I'll make the jokes myself now.
We don't really know what she got. It seemed like she didn't know. Seems like she didn't know anything about its whereabouts or whether it existed based on our conversation. But she was very concerned about it.
But she knows we are in possession of it.
No. She doesn't know we're in possession of it at all. I said we saw it, we found it. I didn't say we took it out.
I think the assumption is that if we ask about it, we might either know somebody who is in possession of it, or, worse yet, be in possession of it.
Well, I do understand that you had some sort of spells cast on you. I believe us acting with discretion moving forward would be very beneficial to us. I appreciate the information you gathered. I understand you had the right intentions, but
Well,
I-
I had 2 goals, and one of them was successful because we
Which
did
I
find
commend you
out.
for.
We did find out that Father Atrium is a shady character. I had the vibes, and now I've got confirmation.
Well, what do we want to do with this information? Do we... I still think we should whisper, get this thing away from us before it becomes a genuine problem.
We need to get it somewhere. It seems like it's kind of important. I think we can't just toss it away. We have to put it somewhere where people won't find it. Because she was really freaked out.
Would Fabiana somebody know where we could come across some kind of a dimensional portal door kind of device?
Is there like a magic shop?
Can I do a just history check to see if I can think of any merchant that might have something like that?
You can do a history check on that one.
What about that tinker shop fella?
20.
Oh,
All right.
You remember that tinker shop fella with that,
Iltherin, the one that worked on
the one that worked on trauma, yeah.
Yeah, at the, I think it was called the oil something, right? The
oil pot. Yeah.
The oil pot,
yeah.
So, and forgive me, are we all back together, or
Yeah.
am I still in?
Yep,
Okay.
all back together.
Okay. From what I could see when I was looking at it in the ethereal plane, the like grapefruit size bit that I saw inside of it. Did I get a good enough look that I know where like it is localized inside the big old like 6-foot long slab?
Yeah, I mean, you got an idea of where it is, definitely
Okay.
within its positioning within it.
Okay, so I just kind of like to check those. Like, well, I can't promise anything on this, obviously, but I did get a decent look, and I can do it again. That grapefruit bit, the pulsing bit that I saw, I can potentially get this split down to a more reasonable size. It might be much easier to hide a chunk of rocks this big as opposed to bigger than any one of us. Would you like me to attempt that? We may even be able to disguise the remnants as something, or as the original stone, and pass it off to some of our potential opponents, make them out themselves.
I'm for it.
But if the thing's an egg, I'm worried that, look, I haven't dealt with egg-like things before that are stone, but every other egg I've come across, if you disturb it when it's still an egg, it becomes breakfast, not a chicken. Or
And really quick, Karina, based on that roll, you would know that the Chandei Quorum has access to a teleportation circle that they maintain in one of the tower structures. That's the only facility that you would know of.
Why was it meaning like a teleportation? But I meant like a magic mansion kind of thing.
Like a bag of holding?
Oh, you're talking about whether or not like a more specific magic shop?
Like, yeah, so I was something that would have, like, if we could get our hands on like a magic mansion door kind of thing, and we could set that up in the shop that we know the code to get in, or the password, whatever, so we can access it, or we have the thing to access it.
I would say, based on that history check for you, Karina, there's a good chance if you can find someone who has the magical item known as a portable hole, that might be the best option. Magic mansions are limited to duration and are extremely expensive. You would also know that the magic hole can be rolled up and tucked away and can be placed out anywhere on a surface and then reached into, and it would maintain 100 square foot amount of space within inside of it. So from your knowledge, that feels like a good item to try to locate. But magic items in Jrusar could be difficult to purchase because of the heavy tax. You get the feeling that maybe this is an opportunity to maybe seek out an underground market or a fence or someone who's in the business
Ooh.
of smuggling magic items.
That's kind of fun.
Would that be
Um,
somebody? If you, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, actually, I was going to ask you if you know somebody.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask.
So
We're
between,
thinking on the same
I would
brainwave.
say, since Melody Air Trio and Professor Jalbatros are a little bit newer to the city, but Foreign with your professional background and Karina with your establishment of the city, you would know that in the you would know that over in that rough area of the Smolder Spire, the part where the Hubatt Corsairs used to run, and now there's a bit of a power vacuum over there, and where Crimp keeps his little construct factory. Though the Smolder Spire is a pretty big spire, that if you're going to look for a smuggler, a fence, or a ne'er-do-well who might have access to magic, it'll cost you, but that feels like the best area to pursue.
Isn't that where people are being openly murdered in the streets now?
At night.
Well,
It's still the
in
middle
the
of the
slums,
day.
in that one section of the Smolder Spire where there's a bit of a power vacuum, but there are other parts of the Smolder Spire that different groups organize and control. It's just a matter of figuring out who they are.
I think we have to do that, but just to make sure, did I put any alarm on like the house before? I feel like that's something she kind of does obsessively at all times. But did I leave any
I mean,
alarms?
the only challenge you have is that alarms can consume spell slots.
I have it as ritual.
Okay, so I would say your normal routine of the front door, but that won't work because you're open for business. So we'll say the hallway that leads to all the bedrooms on the second floor, or where you guys keep your rooms, the room to get into where it was hidden, and the spot that it was hidden. So I'll say there is currently 3 alarms spells that are set that you ritualistically do if you choose every morning, as long as you have possession of the star.
Okay, so yeah, I'll just keep alarm until we can put it someplace safer.
Okay. It's now early afternoon by the time you gather on the gondola to go to the Lucent Spire. You guys step onto the Lucent Spire, spend the 5 silver apiece.
Well, we're going to the Smolder Spire now, right?
I don't know. I thought you guys were going to go and.
Well, I was going to go to the Dawnfather Temple, and do we still want to go there? Do we still want to go to the Dawnfather, or shall we go find a place to put this stone that's better first?
I think with the suspicion that someone knows we might have it, we should probably address the stone first. That's my opinion. And I think Father Atrium will be there. He will.
I agree. I agree. Down we go, I guess. Assuming everybody else is in agreement. Sorry.
And also, can I change the alarm thing? Just because I feel like it would be very suspicious if only one room had an alarm on it. If somebody did identify magic, they'd know which room it was in. Can I just do on a couple of random rooms? And
Sure.
I know, I'm sorry. It's
No, it's fine.
On mine for sure. Definitely on
keep in
mine.
mind your core deception is a 20 currently. So the alarm spell, can people identify and possibly know that something's alarmed? Of course, that it's not a foolproof method. But we'll say you kind of spent that hour that morning just kind of building a very elaborate kind of alarm system that makes it a little bit difficult to figure out which room to go into, and there's plenty of opportunities for someone to slip up. So yeah, I get your gist. I get what you're doing.
okay, thank you.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna tell you guys that I have more money, but now that we have proper money, going to the black market might be fun.
All right.
As you guys take the gondola over to the Lucent Spire, and then take the gondola from the Lucent Spire over to the Smolder Spire, you pass by the Lantern Spire, arriving at the Smolder Spire. A familiar landing, the area that the fire and everything took place, but it's only familiar in location as a good chunk of the debris has been cleared. You can see lots of scaffolding around all the areas being repaired. The Smolder Spire is broken up into light and heavy manufacturing, artisan style manufacturing, like small business style manufacturing, that can cater anything from carpentry to ceramics to pottery, to fabrics to clothing to foodstuffs. There's the one part of the Smolder Spire where Crimp is located. It's in a very run-down, older section of the Smolder Spire that would be on the much southern edge of the Smolder Spire. There's still the northern and eastern edges of the Smolder Spire that were unaffected by the fire. All 5 of you give me investigation checks as you begin to wander the Smolder Spire that you haven't been privy to.
I got a 2.
I got a 4.
Dirty 20.
14.
9.
Damn, it's always academia that knows where to buy the illicit shit.
Well, he flew while we were here. He was the one flying around in the air, right?
Yeah, I was doing recon.
He flew us out of the place. So
That's fair. That's fair. As you are wandering sections of the what you would call kind of a more impromptu kind of, it's kind of like these warehouse sections that are open to people to come in and barter. Professor Jalbatros, you pass by somebody that immediately takes a notion to you, eyes you, and then kind of gives you a look. He's a short fellow, very kind of interestingly, like staring back towards you, and you see this little goblin kind of peer out of a warehouse. And as you're passing by looking around, you hear the goblin go, "Hey buddy, you and your friends look like you're looking for a good time. Yeah, you want a good time? I can tell you all about the Smolder Spire."
Like, Professor Jalbatros is just like very, very like, this seems improper. Friends, are we what was it you were offering? Are we in the market for a nondescript good time? There's a
My name's Darwin, by the way. Just ask around. I'm how shall we say, they call me a fixer.
There's a fixer called Darwin over here who's offering.
He watches the goblin
the
steps out of the front of the warehouse, and he's like holding a leather bag with some trinkets hanging out of it. And
Hello, my name's Darwin. What can I do for you? I know tourists when I see them, especially the 2 pretty ones there, the Azamar and the Seder.
can I?
Sauron looks mad that he wasn't included.
Can I roll? Would it be history or insight to see if I recognize him from like a bounty board or something somewhere?
that would be history. A history check.
Okay.
One
That's
of your
10.
favorites.
That's a 10.
I mean, he looks shady.
Yeah.
He looks like a smuggler. He looks like he's in the criminal business, but he's not familiar to you.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm like familiar, just like somebody I recognized him from a board. I was going to try and use that as an end to pull up on him, and Darwin, you say?
Yes, Darwin.
Right. So, what do you have?
Well, if you'd step into my shop, I'd gladly show you what I
I'll cast detect magic before I step in.
The doorway that he's standing in is entirely magical. It's got a bit of a kind of evocation magic associated to it. And that's when you look through the doorway and realize the warehouse inside is empty. And he's standing at the edge of the doorway, kind of saying, come into my shop. Allow me to show you what I have.
Okay.
If I'm gonna tell, I'm just gonna say, if that doorway, if this is a trap, I flash my pistol. If this is a trap, I will not make it easy on you.
Sounds like a bargain. And he watches Darwin kind of, you have my permission to enter.
And you watch as Darwin steps through the doorway and disappears.
Right. Look, one of y'all hold my hand, right, and I'll step in because this door is magical. So if shit
Karina
happens,
jumps in.
Whoop, just passes through the membrane of magic and disappears into the doorway.
Right. So
Jump
she
us
could
with
be
the
trapped in a painting. She could be any number of places that are not inside a warehouse. So if one of y'all would just hold on for a second.
I'll Florence hand.
Right. And I step in just to see if everything's okay on the other side. If it is, I'll pull and let them,
Karina, since you stepped through first, the inside of the warehouse is an absolute playground of items. Not only that, but there are dozens of people shopping and purveying the different items set out on tables. There's a very large ogre fellow in the corner with a heavy club, as if he's maybe the bouncer watching over things. You can see maybe about half a dozen goblins kind of managing the different purchases that are going on. There's an impromptu kind of bar at the back. And it's got a very playful and kind of intense environment around you. And the space looks 100 times bigger than the perception of the space outside of the doorway. At that point, you see a half-born kind of membrane through the doorway. And then, Foreign, you see the same thing that Karina sees first.
So, yeah, I'm going to, yank on Eritreo's hand and then, give a thumbs up.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to tell everybody, I think we're good to go, and hop in.
So one by one, you guys kind of pop through this doorway. Darwin waiting patiently for all five of you to appear. My friends, allow me to introduce you to Darwin's house. You will find all manner of equipment, weapons, and armor over on those tables. If you're looking for magical poultices, potions, and ethereal oils, over on that table. I've got scrolls, wands, and the like. However, I must warn you, if you violate the agreement of this place, you see that big fella in the corner. He will pick you up and throw you out. Agreed?
Well, that's all.
Agreed.
Well, yeah, I don't kill people. The dead don't make me money.
Sir Dog, you mentioned there's an ogre in here. Do I see any other draft animals, large animals roaming through here? There's a point to this.
Did you call the ogre a draft animal?
I'm just saying he's the large guy, so I don't know if he can make if they're.
Yes, sir. Are you a draft animal?
Yeah.
I dare you to go talk to the ogre and ask the question. I think that would be a brilliant role play opportunity for Professor Jalbatross.
A
brilliant role play opportunity.
I'll head over. Remember, I'm buff as shit.
Still
you guys watch as Professor Jalbatross starts heading over to where the ogre is. What do the rest of you do?
I'm gonna browse the weapons and trinkets stuff because I'm looking for upgrades. Or stuff that I can try to upgrade my guns with.
Yeah. Melody and Eritrea, where are you two heading off to?
I would like to look at some of the magical items, magical items.
Okay, Melody.
Yeah, I think is someone actually doing the objective of looking for the pocket?
Well,
I can do that. Yeah.
I mean, I was imagining Karina was going to focus on that, but then again, she's got a pocket full of coin and there's a lot of shit to buy. So she may, I mean, her ADHD might kick in. She might just wander off and do her own thing. You know how that goes.
Before I run off and talk to the ogre thing, I do want to. This concerns other members of the party, so I just want to kind of turn to Thorn and Melody and be like, "Can you wait here for just a moment? I want to make sure I'm not going to be roughly thrown out for doing something." And just before I do that, it shouldn't impact either of you in either case, but just if you wouldn't mind staying here for a moment or two. I'm terrified of trying to find Karina at this time.
So as the four of you linger, we'll say Professor Jalbatros approaches the ogre. You're standing in front of this guy. There's a section of his lower jaw, which is a replaced bit of metal. He's got a gemstone for an eye. He's got a organic eye in his other eye. He's heavily stitched, like he's recovered from a major wound or something, a series of wounds. He's got a big breastplate on. His club is about 12 feet tall, and it leans up against the wall. And it's got all these notches in it. He's not wearing any boots. He's just wearing short, cut-off chainmail pants that kind of interlock with his breastplate. Kind of sees you approach and goes, "Yeah, what do you want?"
Oh, I want to make sure of some rules of the establishment, sir. Nothing impolitic, I do assure you. I just happened to notice that you were a large, burly fellow. I wanted to know if, well, no offense implied or intended, you are a large specimen. As you can see for myself.
What does that mean?
Oh, I'm saying that
Wait, are you asking me out on a date? I'm really confused.
No, you are a gorgeous example, but I'm
Yeah.
Albatross is made for life.
Oh, it is. Look at this. Look at this son's mate.
Melody's leaning over.
Albatross rolls up his sweater vest and like tries to do the FMA, Mitch Armstrong, and Sid Curtis thing.
So we like watching just for.
It's like a Venice Beach
might have
scene
just asked
over in the corner of the house. It's like these two ripped guys, like, you know, trying to one up each other with muscle poses the whole time.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure. Is it in the rules of this place to have draft animals? Would that cause a ruckus if I brought in a steed of some kind, or is that allowed?
Oh, you want to bring in your horsey or your pony then?
Well, not one of
Are
those.
you trying to sell it? Is that why you want
I'm
to
not
bring
trying
it
to
into the
sell it.
place?
It's just
Oh.
for transportation. I don't know what exactly my companions and I might pick up. It may be something too large for even a man like me to carry comfortably. So I just wanted to see if maybe that would be allowed.
Once your purchases are complete, if you require assistance in transportation, you may utilize your, what did you call it? Your specimen for that purpose, if that's what you want to use it for.
In addition to that, one of the members of my party is quite small, and I fear for their legs. I would hate for them to be tired out on this journey. Would mind terribly if I just went ahead and summoned them. I promise they'll be well behaved.
Give me a persuasion check, if you would, please.
Let me see what my persuasion is. Ooh, cool. Oh, okay, that's something wrong with that. Oh, nat 20 plus 7.
Yeah, that's fine. Shouldn't be a problem. Just make sure it's not going to cause a ruckus.
It's gonna shit all over
course.
the
Thank you so
Gonna
much.
shit
for
jelly beans and fart cotton candy.
So I head back over to where Thorn and Melody are. I assume Karina's just way off doing shit. Just like, I've been holding back on this for a little bit, but I go ahead and do Find Steed, and I summon a giant, like a large griffin, in case the three of you need to get out of here in a hurry.
I love
So
it.
at that
Awesome.
moment, this griffin appears, and that's where we're going to finish tonight. When we come back, we'll see what this shopping adventure turns into Griffin shit is not easy to clean off of a wooden floor, so we'll see how that goes. So you guys go ahead and linger. Everyone else out there, we will be back next Sunday. And don't forget, be safe, be kind, and don't forget to play a game. Good night, everybody. I thought I paneled it. Oh, you know what I realized I forgot to do? I forgot to turn that on. I forgot because it was the new one that Brian made. Oh, well. Better luck to me next time.
Oh.